In the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, we had Link and Zelda walking through the cave with the elephant, going by the little creek, and then finally they come across the zombie corpse of Ganondorf, and there's an earthquake and some magic hands and some crazy stuff happens, but we presumably see the entrance of the cave that they go through. We don't know if that's the cave. We don't see them walking through it, but we see them in a cave, and then we see the entrance of a cave. So presumably that's the one that they went in. So where do you guys think this is located? Do you think it is located the obvious place that everyone is saying is once Hyrule Castle lifts up, then that's when like Link and Zelda are able to like go underneath where the castle's floating, and then they see the entrance and then they go in or whatever. But there are a lot of areas and a lot of stuff that are hidden underground, like all of the towers and shrines and stuff when you first begin Breath of the Wild 1 are already buried underneath the ground, and then once you use that one the first Sheikah slate pedestal, whatever, I can't think of the name of it, but when you use the first one outside, because there is the one inside when you first wake up, but when you use the first one outside, it raises up and causes like the earthquake, and everything rises up, and you start seeing the shrines and the Sheikah towers rise up everywhere that was all hidden underground, and then you see like rocks falling off and stuff, and then finally there's like this whole new world that you end up seeing. And even the people of Hyrule say that they found all of the guardians and the divine beasts because they were buried in the canyons and the rocks and stuff. So where do you think this cave is located? Because another thing I want to point out is we see the ruins of the Arbiter's grounds, but presumably that would be like the sand and the ground has risen up so much that it's covered the top of it, and that's why we, instead of seeing like the ruins of like a giant structure, we just see like what would presumably just be like the top parts, and then the rest would, in my mind, is buried underneath the sand. Because so much time has passed, the 10,000 years or whatever, that it's covered up the entirety of what was there before. Kind of like how the ground had covered up a bunch of the stuff from the first game. So could this be like just a random canyon that there's another earthquake that happens, and then it reveals a bunch of these caves that you can just enter? Is it the castle rising up, and then you find the cave that you can go through? What do you guys think?
It says it's under Magda's flowers,
Yeah.
which I think might be the best answer.
Yes.
Cool spot would be if there was an interest to it in the Breach of Demise, because I think that just kind of makes sense. It's like a very I don't know, threatening area. But I mean, the Tengar Canyon would also be a good option because you've got the Forgotten Temple there. So there could be, even that could be an entrance to deeper caves, or there could be another cave entrance that is found in the canyon somewhere else. It's so hard. There's so many good places. Someone in the chat said under the plateau. The Rulian Shape said under the Great Plateau. That one I would have a bit of a hard time with because there's already Maz Koshia's shrine under the Great Plateau.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, and we see the entrance to the cave, and like the outside of it doesn't necessarily look like.
It could also be like in one of the Lomai labyrinth, the labyrinths, the you know the ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The one with the creepy music that everyone just climbs to the top to find their way because it's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Also great if you go in the northern one to snipe the flying guardians. You know, just harvest their parts, which sounds creepy to say, but that's why I say it. Anyways, Yeah, no, I love the music there, but any of those would be like a really cool place because when it shows that like entrance, it kind of has that same aesthetic as the labyrinths do. Very similar sort of vibe there. So, or it could just be like a place we haven't seen yet as well. I don't know. That's you asked for one answer. I gave you like 5, so I'm just gonna
Cool.
stop.
So, Geek, where do you imagine this area is going to be
Okay.
at?
As a twofold answer, one is kind of places I hope or I think it would be cool for it to be, but then also where I actually think it is. Like everyone else, based on what we've seen, yeah, I do think it's under the castle. But that's just because of the way the trailer is spun together. It gives off that vibe. So I'm like, I don't know. That's all I got as far as where I actually think it is. Someone mentioned in chat, and I thought that was cool, behind the 8th heroine.
That is a
would
cool
be
one.
really interesting. I think it was DJ. I was like,
Yes.
that would
Break
be
that
cool.
statue and
But
just-
I also think it'd be
entrance
cool if
behind
it would just be somewhere if we don't know where it is. Especially because there's so many areas where like there's a cliff face and it just drops off, and you don't see anything else. I know there was like I think it was like data mining or something. People found like stuff like on those cliffs, but I think it was also shown to be like when they were testing out Minish stuff, but then removed it sadly. But I honestly really don't know. I feel like even though I've played Breath of the Wild a ton, I don't even want to know how many hours I've put into it, between different systems and consoles and things like that. I don't like know the names of areas well enough, but I like DJ's answer. I think it'd be cool if it was behind the 8th heroine based on like all of the theories and lore I've seen behind it. But as far as where I actually think it is, based on what we know, sure, Hyrule Castle.
Sure. I mean, sometimes the simplest answer may not be but sometimes ends up being the right one.
That could be
Lots
one of
of
those
it-
things
lots
where
of it
Nintendo just knows. At this point, Nintendo knows that there are so many people on YouTube that theorize that they have no problem just sprinkling little bits of stuff and being like, run free, and we won't tell you anything for another year.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it was the most
I mean, it's
obvious
been almost
answer,
a year
too.
now, too, and like, we still, yeah, no, that would probably be what they do. It would be really terrible if they made it RNG. There's like, they could just show up at it. The entrance is just anywhere. Every time you start a new game, it's somewhere new.
It works for Crypt of the Necrodancer, but
No, I don't actually want that though.
not for Breath of the Wild.
No, thanks.
So
What do you think, Jesse?
I like the idea of them introducing some sort of second world, and then this being like just another entrance to one of many caves that are going to be like this, but in this Hyrule's version of like the Dark World, or whatever it's going to be called, like Low World, the Dark World, whatever its evil version of Hyrule is going to be. And then like instead of a castle, it's just a pyramid or whatever they end up coming up with. I would really like it to be that, and then the way to get back and forth is like once the castle rises up, there's like the portal underneath the castle or whatever, and then so like the entrance to the other world would be underneath where the castle is, and then that cave is just somewhere out in the world, like through that portal. But that's a huge stretch. And I also think when the castle rises up, a lot of people think that they get to that cave because the castle rises up. But I think they're already inside the cave once the castle rises up. And then the castle rising up, and then like the earthquake that it causes is why like Zelda almost falls, and like Link has to catch her, or like the ghost hand has to catch them and stuff. And I think that's the cause of that earthquake while they're inside the cave. So like maybe the water around the castle at first gets drained, and then they go and like explore around the castle, and then they find the entrance and then while they're in there, they wake up Ganondorf, and then that causes the castle to rise up. I don't know. There's like 1,000 different ways, but it's all interesting to talk about.
Finally introduce underwater exploration and have them enter that way.
Yeah.
That would be cool. But keep in mind that the trailer is most likely cut in a way that it's not in order of like the actual sequence of events, and that's just how trailers are for any medium, like games or movies alike. So it's just it's odds are we're missing some information, or they've sliced things and reorganized them just to make, because the trailer, just the idea is to make it, here's some cool parts, get hyped, wait till the game comes out.
Which worked. Really worked. It definitely
worked.
gave us a bunch.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
The fact that theorists across YouTube have been having to go, play pause, okay, what is that? Because it went so fast with the cuts. And also actually piggybacking off of what you said about the labyrinths, Daniel, that would give reason to have more lore about the Zonai.
This is true, which everyone wants. Everyone and their
Everyone
dog is
wants
making
/ everyone hates right now.
Yes.
It's like both. Everyone's like, more stuff about Zonai, and then everyone else is like, shut up about the Zonai.
It's kind of true. Yeah, but it's yeah, I mean it's odds are there's gonna be, like, if you actually get to the point in the game, whether it be the beginning or middle or climax of the game, where that occurs and Ganondorf zombie corpse wakes up and earthquake happens and Zelda falls and Link's hand goes all glowy flash, odds are that there's going to be more to it than what we've seen. I mean, just thinking back on like trailers from previous Zelda games and like what gets shown in those, and like now knowing what we know about the, and how kind of sometimes misleading even Breath of the Wild's trailers, like all of the memories being like mishmashed with gameplay, give it like almost the impression that it's a much more linear story-driven game than Breath of the Wild really is, and much more like fast-paced games. So it's just the nature of trailers, really. But
the Rulian
sheep.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and read that, Daniel?
Yeah, $10 super chats. Not to change topics, but Island is having a star shower right now. Just wished on 6 of them.
I still haven't seen a shooting star in the game.
I haven't either. I've been told about them.
I mean, Celeste came to my island, but nothing happened. I haven't figured it out. Cool.
That is cool.
Thank you, sheep.
Much appreciate. Wish upon a star. Or 6. 1 or 6.
Well, now 7, he said.
7? Oh my gosh. That's really cool. Is that something that's just happening like everywhere? Or just like, what's... How does that work? I don't know. I don't know things. Yeah, but I will ask, what are the Zonai? It's like there's like all those ruins around Breath of the Wild. That's what the Zonai are. There's an area literally called Zonai ruins, but those sort of old ruins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's that southern area that's essentially Florida.
Florida in Breath of the Wild.
You know, hot and humid and gross and disgusting, and you don't understand why people live there because it stinks.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Lorelyn Village is okay, but I'm sure it's humid, and I also hate fish, so I couldn't live there.
Ooh, it seems like such a chill place to live.
The music's just too nice. It's just, and that person that just lets you take his fish all the time. His cooked fish. He's like, yeah, sure, just take it. I made too many.
In fairness, those are huge fish.
True.
What's it going to do with 3 of them?
But Link eats them in like 3 bites.
Yes, it does. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, thoughts, Jebbers?
No, I'm just reading the chat to see their ideas. But
the Dark World and Breath of the Wild.
Do you guys want to go to your thoughts on the
Lizalfos are the alligators.
Oh no. It's all coming together.
I'm sorry, what did you ask, Jesse?
No, I just said the direct.
Oh,
yeah.